Did you know that the seafloor isn't just featureless and boring and flat? It actually has lots of really different things down there. This includes things like underwater mountains, big underwater canyons, and even big underwater submarine landslides. I'm Dr. Hannah Power. I'm an Associate Professor of Coastal and Marine Science here at the University of Newcastle. For the last 5 weeks, I've been at sea with a whole lot of other scientists, and we've been looking at the seafloor. We've been mapping the seafloor and mapping all the features that we see on the seafloor, and we've been collecting samples of the mud and the sand that makes up the seafloor to try to investigate how it changes over time. We've been doing a whole lot of work trying to understand how the sediment, so that includes the sand and the muds, that come off our continent travel off down into the deep oceans. As we come off away from the coast, we go out across a very shallow area called the continental shelf, and then we drop off the edge of the continent, and then we go down the slope and out into the very deep oceans where it's over 4 kilometers deep and the seafloor becomes very flat, and we're in an area called the abyssal plains, and this is the really deep ocean. On the southeast Australian continental margin, scientists have discovered really big scars from underwater landslides. These are up to 10 or 20 kilometres long and several kilometres wide. What that means is that material has been removed from that location on our continent, and depending on how it's removed, it may or may not have the potential to form tsunami. By going to sea and collecting samples of the mud and the sand from in these landslides, we can find out how old they are, and we can also work out how big a tsunami they might have created. So we had a really successful voyage, and we were able to collect lots of samples of mud and sand from within these landslides. And one of the things we wanted to do was find out where this material ended up. And unfortunately, we couldn't find it. But the ocean is really big, and we've only mapped about a quarter of the world's ocean in total. And so there's lots more places to look for us to find this material in future research. Like any scientific research, you often come away with more questions than you do with answers, and that's what's happened to us. We've got a whole lot more questions that we want to answer now, and so we're hoping to be able to go to sea again to answer these new questions. During our voyage, we travelled over 5,300 nautical miles, and we mapped all sorts of cool features, like big underwater canyons and beaches and dune systems that existed during the last ice age. We learnt lots about all these different features on our seafloor, and that helps tell the story of how the Australian continent evolves through time. One of the things that's super exciting about science is there's still lots that we don't know, and we know so little about our oceans and our seafloor. In fact, we know less about them than we do about the surface of the moon. Science is super exciting, and I really encourage you to get involved and get excited about what science can do for you.